Welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live show. We have a very special show for you today. Today it's called Lady Charmaine and Girlfriends. We're going to be talking about all things girlfriends. Yes, from friendships to friendship boundaries and also those deadly friendship betrayals. So I want you to call your girlfriends, tweet them, Facebook them, Instagram them, and tell them to tune in right now to the Lady Charmaine Live show.
Yeah. All right, now let's get it. Let's go. Lady Charmaine is in the house, so you know we're gonna have a good time. You can relax your mind. Everything is gonna be alright. With Lady Charmaine Live. Lady Charmaine Live. Lady Charmaine Live. All right, now.
Today we are talking about girlfriend relationships. We're talking about all things girlfriends. And why is it so difficult for females to get along? Or is it? Well, to help me talk about this subject, we have a few of my girlfriends here today on the show. To my right, I have life coach Aisha Curry.
Hello.
And to my left, we have college instructor Stacia Mobbs. And regional manager Charlisa Hudson. Help me welcome you to the show. Well, now, each one of these ladies on the show, because I just love their personality. And when I like you, I want you on the show. I can do that, you know. But today we're talking about girlfriends and girlfriend relationships. And is girlfriend relationships really important? So I'm going to ask Stacia, because she's like my baby. I want to ask her a question. How do you define a friend?
Okay, a friend to me, as far as a lifetime friend, there's a huge difference between, coworkers or just people that you meet at the grocery store. But for a friend that I know that's going to be there long term, trust is a huge thing. Like, if I tell you something, are you going to go put it on Facebook or go and run and tell the whole world? I like to hang around people who are kind of like me, but a little bit different, because, you got to keep on learning from other people. But something about that other person attracted us in the first place, whether it was, we like the same type of music or we have the same type of personality. But trust for me is a big deal. And just knowing that somebody is going to stick in there during the good and the bad times.
Now, you said a point, though, because, people will put your business on Facebook. They're just not going to say your name.
Right.
So I know this girl and some people, but they're talking about you.
Right.
So they will do it, just never use your name.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, Charlisa, for you, how would you define a friend?
A friend to me is someone that you have like-mindedness with. Somebody that, shares your likes, shares your dislikes. You've been through something with, someone who you've known for a long time. As she said, either a coworker or someone you grew up with. But a friend is definitely somebody who you can call your friend. There is no doubt about it. You've known them, and it's pretty much a known fact that we are friends, and regardless of outside the doors, inside the doors, in front of people, around other people, you can consider that person your friend. So that's somebody you know inside and out.
Now, Aisha, you're a life coach, so I'm sure you probably talk to a lot of people. And I know you probably have a lot of female friends, or maybe a few. Sometimes I don't want to say a whole lot. How would you define a friend?
I think these ladies hit it on the head. I mean, the first thing is trust. I think we lose the word friend too loosely these days, because a friendship, just like a relationship with your spouse, is a commitment. So if you're my friend, I'm committed to you as a person, and then we're going to go through things. But these days, you have a friend, and next week she ain't your friend, and then she calling you back. So it's definitely about trust and commitment.
Now, we talk about friends, and, we meet people. First, you start off, because you don't always start off as friends. And so you start off as, I tell my children, associates. When do you know a person has moved from being associate, from that place of being of an associate or association, to a friend?
I would say a life experience, something that changes your life, something big happened in your life, and that person was there to support you. I would say really something life-changing makes that person from associate to a friend, because at the end of the day, you know that person has your back, they're there for you. And that is huge to go from one aspect to another. It's a big deal. for sure.
Now, is it a particular length of time that it may take for an individual?
You know what? I have a girlfriend who we've only known each other for a couple of years, but we became friends in a very short period of time by a life-changing experience. And it brought us closer together and it made us friends. Okay. So I don't think that there's any length of time that makes that person a friend. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, let me, go ahead.
Because I was going to say, I have friends that I've known for years, since, childhood, elementary school, and we don't really talk as much anymore. I still consider them a friend, but then I've got people that I've only been in California for 3 or 4 years, but I have people that I've met here that have become more of a friend to me now than the people that I've known for 15, 20 years. So I don't really think there's a time. But as far as life experiences, when you start to go through things, or when maybe that other person calls you to confide in you for, certain situations, and you feel like, oh, wow, they trust me with this information, it just allows that friendship to blossom.
Okay, life coach.
Right. I agree. There's no length of time. I mean, like she said, I have friends since 6th grade, and I have a friend that I became really good friends with. I actually consider her a sister, maybe just a year ago.
Yeah.
But it's just the maturity that we both have, the commonalities that we share, and I trust her. So therefore, we was able to move quickly in our relationship because of those commonalities.
Now, do you have friends that you moved back to the associate spot? They was your home. Because, Jesus had the 3, he had the 12, and he had the 120. And some people, they just backslide on back to the 120.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience. I just want to know, because I've had some of those, and I had to just move on back. You know what I'm saying? You got the inner court, the outer court, and the Holy of Holies. And some people, they just back on the outer court. Is that just me?
No.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I just want to know.
You love them, but you just don't.
Yeah.
You love them from a distance.
You gotta love them from a distance.
Right.
They will no longer be a part of that inner circle.
Yeah.
They won't know your business.
Exactly.
They won't know the ins and out of your life. But you'll know them. Hey, girl, how's it going?
Yeah.
Shout out on Facebook.
That's right.
But you don't know anything about what's going on personally.
Right. And it's not being phony. It's not being fake. It's just that I'm going to be cordial enough to love you, but I'm not going to communicate with you the way I used to.
Absolutely.
Because things happen. You lose trusted people.
Right. That's true. That's true. Anybody ever had a personal experience you can share? We ain't going to tell nobody. Did I say that?
I have a personal experience to share. One of my girlfriends, we were good friends, and we had very common interests. We had our kids were the same ages and all that good stuff. Well, she would share everything that I shared with her husband. And now I have a husband, been married 10 years, love my husband, and I share things with him. But when it comes down to girlfriend conversations,
the girlfriend.
There's a fine line that you don't want to cross. And he mentioned something to me that I mentioned to her in confidence. And I was very surprised and disappointed at the same time, because I realized at that moment that I couldn't share personal things with her. And she got bumped back to, the associate zone. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I have to yield myself or shield myself from, my business being put out there, even if it's to their spouses, because then their spouses will share your business with somebody else. And who wants that? You want to be able to feel free to talk to that person about whatever, and that's what makes a friend.
Because I have a good friend, and she's my dear friend, as a matter of fact, and she and I, we share a lot, and our spouses are a lot alike. And so she'll share something with me that reminds me so much of my husband. So then I try to get his opinion, because then I think it stirs up something in me. I'm like, hey, she mentioned this. So look, so I mentioned to him, but then he gives me a great perspective on just how men think about it. And I'm not sharing her business. It's just something that he and I had already gone through. And it's so funny to hear somebody else going through what you've already gone through. And then it gives me a whole nother perspective on it. Sometimes I still think like she do, because I'm a female, and I agree with her 100%. There's nothing my husband can say can change my mind, but it helps with her. It kind of opens up my mind a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where the man is coming from. But I don't. I don't. It just don't help at all. Now, has anybody ever had one of those deadly friendship betrayals? You know, that girl, she hurt your heart. You thought that was your girl. You thought that was your road dog. You know how we say. And all of a sudden, you found out that she wasn't who you thought she was.
Yes.
Okay, tell me a story. We ain't gossiping in here. I just want to hear it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say any names.
Right.
To protect the
And we're
guilty.
not going to Facebook it later.
But I had a very, very close friend, and she betrayed me by, you know, I gave her some advice or whatever, and she ended up doing some things behind my back. And I found out, and she had been lying to me for, I don't know, good 5 or 6 months. And when I finally addressed it with her, she had no remorse at first, and we fell out for 2 years. For 2 years, we fell out, and during that time, I didn't have any contact with her. We saw each other because we lived in the same city, but we saw each other, and we went to the same school. So, you know, I had to see each other on campus every now and then. But after 2 years, we found each other again on Facebook and started the process of repairing our relationship. And now I can say that, you know, it is back on track, but it still does not change what happened in the past. Every now and then, you know, you have a flashback. And, you know, I have to remind myself, you know, it's over. It's in the past. She forgave me because I said some things, and I forgave her. But it still happened, you know, and so you just have to be very careful when you have a friend in your whole lifetime. You may be lucky to get 3.
That's right.
Three good ones.
Yep,
you
3
know.
good ones.
And I considered one of those 3. And she totally broke the trust and the bond. So that's 2 years. 2 years is a long time to not talk to a friend, you know. But yeah.
So how do you get over that? Have you ever had that experience?
I've had that experience, and I've had a lot of experiences with friends and things like that, but time heals all, you know, and you just have to take a step back, realize that they're no longer a friend. You have those moments where you want to share that experience with that friend. They come to mind, but you remember what happened, and you have to take a step back. But it is hard. But I will say again, like I said, time heals all. And eventually you'll get over it, and you'll lean on those friends that have been your friends and have been in your corner since day one. But boy, is it a challenge. It's not easy.
Because like when you get a good friend and you lose that good friend, you're like, man. And you look around, you ain't got no other good friends. You got some friends, you got some associates, but having that good friend, that dear friend, that best friend, I mean, it's like, you know, you lost it's almost like you lost a loved one. You know, when you want to just vent on somebody, you ain't got nobody to talk to. And then you don't want to tell her no more.
And then you end up being guarded with other people. You don't want to let other people in. You're not interested in making any new friends. You don't want to bring anybody into your inner circle. So at the end of the day, it turns you into a different person. You know?
You know, and it's so true because I know just even with me and just with the business that I work in, I always have people wanting to know my business, always. And then I'm trying to figure, okay, now why? I mean, they're just so curious about me, and I understand why, so I have to stay guarded even the more. You know, and people want to look at your marriage. I can't be that perfect. Gotta be something wrong. So they want to try to get close to you to find out what's wrong with it. Just so they can see, I told you it wasn't perfect. You know, family look like they all nice, right, and tight. I know they kids can't be all good. So I told you that little girl a cut up. See, I found out that little girl was bad. But it's true. So you really have to just stay guarded and really be mindful who you let in. And then when you do let somebody in, because you letting your guard down. And then you let your guard down, and all of a sudden, you know, you telling them all kind of stuff, and they running and sharing it with everybody else. And, you know, you're on the 5 o'clock news, and, you know, it's just it's amazing.
They want your reputation.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they like, that's where we wanted her right there.
Yeah, exactly. So have you ever had a friendship betrayal?
You know what? Not by my core friends. I think with me, I'm very easy to let people in. I don't really have a guard. And so I'm always up for new friendships. And so the 2 women who did cross me or stab me in my back, they weren't really my friend. I think I wanted them to be my friend, but all the while they were trying to pull stuff from me instead of really trying to be connected to me. They were trying to take from me, but they weren't really my friend. So I never had like a real best friend like
But
cross
how do
me.
you know when somebody's there to take something from you or really there to get something?
I mean, it was blatant.
You know.
Like what they did was apparent that they were trying to, like you said, like they nitpick and try to destroy you and break you down instead of really trying to be your friend. And it came out, but thank God I wasn't that invested into it to where I felt like I was losing anything. So.
Now, how many of you have girlfriends and just social friends? Do anybody have somebody that you hang out with and you got a true girlfriend? And I want to know, do you know the difference between a social girlfriend versus a girlfriend? Is there a difference?
I think so.
That's a hard
That's
question.
a really difficult question. Because if I can't party with you, we can't be friends. I mean, because if something goes down, I got to know that you down, you know?
She was social. That was a social girlfriend. When everything started popping off, the social girlfriend ain't gonna jump in. The party's over. Right. So is there a difference, Steve Station?
Well, I do have some friends that are, you know, a little bit more outgoing and, you know, we can go out and have fun. And then I do have friends that are more, you know, homebody-ish. I guess I'll just use that word. So I leave them at home, you know. But, you know, she's right. If we can't hang together and party together and have fun together, we're probably not friends. There's no connection there, you know. But I don't really have a friend that I only call when we want to go out. I don't have one of those. So I guess the answer for me is no.
Okay. You got social
You know,
girlfriends?
I don't know. I have a variety of different friends. I have friends that are 70 years old. I have friends that are 25. I mean, I have a variety of different friends that I probably do different stuff with each of them. But if I'm calling them my friend, then I pretty much am comfortable with them and can do whatever. So.
Now, with you saying that, are there different degrees of friendships? You know, you got this girl you only tell a few things to. You know, you might tell her, but you know, my mama, she doing well, the kids are doing great. And then you got her, you tell a little more to, and then this one you tell a little more to. Is there a difference?
Oh,
You know,
sure.
your degree of friendships? Everybody like, yep, girl, yeah,
sure.
Because you can't tell her nothing.
But I love her.
But she talk too much.
Right.
So that's a different degree.
Right.
So what degree would you put some of the friends on? How would you scale it?
I have one friend who I tell everything to,
Me
and she is, when I think of the word friend, that's her.
Okay.
Now, do I have other friends in my circle? Absolutely. But I also feel like it depends on the maturity level. If I tell you something, even if it's the most embarrassing thing that's ever, you know, happened to me, I don't need you to like laugh at me or, oh my gosh, that's so crazy, you know, but just listen. And she does the same in return. But then I also have a friend, love her to death, but sometimes she's here and then other times she falls off the face of the planet. Change her number, nobody knows where she is. She lies a lot, you know? So it's like, I love her. It's my friend. But I wouldn't go to her with something because she can barely take care of her stuff, you know? So I don't want to come and, you know, talk to her about a problem and then it's going to turn into, well, let me tell you about all my problems. You know, it's like I
jump back on you.
Right. So, but yes, there's different levels to friendship, but you know your people.
Right.
You know, and in order for you to get to know your people, I believe that something had to happen in order for you to find out, okay, I can't trust her with this. Or, you know, the last time I told her that, she got mad at me or whatever the case may be. So, yes.
Yes.
Your lifetime, I mean, your one girlfriend, is she like an old friend or someone like more recent?
No, I've known her since I was about 14 or 15.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my best friend that I go to, I've known her since the 6th grade. So it's just that one person.
Right.
Yeah.
I have one friend when I think of friend, I think of one person, known her since we were in kindergarten.
Yeah.
We were neighbors. We went to church together. We were baptized together. I had to throw church in there, but I'm just saying.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Come on now.
But she is my best friend. I could talk to her about anything. I don't care if it's embarrassing, whether it's with the kids, whether it's with the husband, and I know that the conversation will stay between us. And that's the person I can call on for anything. Now, mind you, here's the interesting thing about her, though. She doesn't always come to my events that I have. She doesn't always come around to certain social things that I have, but she is my closest friend, although she's not always there. So that is kind of interesting, where you have some friends that, you know, they come to everything. They're at every party or baby shower, birthday party, you know, whatever you have, you know, but they might not be that one, but they are still a close friend. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned church. Now, I know all of us up here, we are saved, we are Christian women. Have you noticed when you got saved that some of your friendships may have changed?
Oh, yeah.
Some of your good girlfriends that you once had are not as close anymore?
That didn't happen for me.
Oh, that didn't happen?
that happened for me.
That happened for me,
Really?
too.
Yeah, that happened for me, too. Tell me about your experience.
Well, before, a long time ago,
BC before Christ?
I was a party girl. So I would go out all the time with certain girls. And as my life as I began to mature and have kids and get married and found Christ, they weren't okay with that. It took them a long time to accept that, you know? So, yeah, they started, you're not going out with us, oh, you whack, or you a square, or you this or you that, and they started falling off. But believe it or not, everything come full circle. And they really were my good friends, and they still are my friends today. Are they saved? Some of them are still not, but they still can call on me. Do I hang out with them now? Not really. But they're still my friends, and I still love them, and they love me. But it was a period of time where they kind of isolated themselves from me for a while.
I think that happens, even with relatives, because there was relatives that I hung out with, and I used to say partying, and we was partying, we was clubbing, and we was getting it in, as they say. We was having a good old time, and if I missed the club, we was sitting in the back of the church, and they was telling me we happened at the club, because I missed the club. So I was getting all the juicy details in the back row. See, that's a hot mess, ain't it? That's a whole topic. And so I never forget when I had got saved, my cousin would not even let me in her house. She said, "Oh my God, you're glowing," and she would not let me in.
Wow.
And she cracked the door and she screamed when she saw me, and I didn't know what was wrong. And I was like, "You gonna let me in?" And she said, "No." She said, "You're glowing, and I can't let you in." And I didn't understand. I remember that day so vividly. I remember what I had on, and I would never forget that day. And I didn't go back over to her house. I did not go. Now, I seen her at family functions, but as going to her house, I didn't go over to her house till years later when she had moved to another place because she wouldn't let me in.
Wow.
And so, because we used to hang and do everything together. And it's so funny when she sees me, she loves to remind me of all the stuff we used to do.
The bad stuff. Right?
Oh,
Girl,
boy.
I remember you used to fight. Girl,
Yes.
They want to bring up that old you so
They want to
bad.
bring it up all the time.
So bad.
I have a family member like that. Me and the family member, and I know if my family's watching, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, this family member and I were so close. We were like sisters, but we weren't. And we would do all kind of stuff. We were party girls too. All kinds of crazy stuff. When I got saved, she would try to bring it back to remembrance every single time we talk. I don't care. We talk, how's the weather? Girl, do you remember when we went to so-and-so's park? Oh my God, girl. It was so, and it was on. It was cracking. And so I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to talk about that right now, but it was always bringing me back. And I'm going to tell you, when you are saved and when you come to a point where you have a family, you have a husband, you have kids, you're trying to elevate your life, and people try to bring you back to that place where you once were, you have to put a stop to it. And I had to. It was family. It was my closest family member out of everyone in my family, and it was hard to do, but I had to let that go because it was toxic. Right. And what it was trying to do was to bring that negative spirit into my life. And it was funny because my husband, he told me, he said, every time you talk to her, do you know your attitude changes? And I said, really? He said, yeah. You talk to us crazy. You got a different attitude and this and that. And I said, I think I might need to make a change. And it took a while, but boy, it definitely spoke volumes to me as a woman to be able to do that. So
I want to know, what are some of the misconceptions that women have about other women? You know, one of the misconceptions is women can never get along. You know, we only have guy friends. That's all. Well, I only got men friends because I can't get along with females. These females. What is, but that's what I hear. What are some of the misconceptions that we have about one another?
I think that a lot of women feel like all the other women are jealous of them, and I don't think that's true. Oh, she just want what I got. She wants it, and it's like, no, maybe you're the jealous one, or maybe I don't know. When you come across people like that, it's oftentimes because they're dealing with their own inner thoughts and inner feelings and things like that, to where they don't know how to approach other people, so they just shut them out and just blame it on jealousy. And I don't think that's always the case.
That's good. That's a good point, Stacia. What about you?
You know, a lot of women, they look at other women and they're intimidated. A lot of women get intimidated by, oh, look at her shoes. This woman has beautiful shoes, by the way. But
We're not going to hate on you, though. We love you.
I hate them. But they're intimidated. They look at their beauty. They look at their family. They look at whatever they're lacking, maybe, and they look at it and they're intimidated. And they don't know how to approach the woman. So it kind of turns them off, as opposed to saying, wow, you know what, you are a beautiful woman. You know, I wanted to tell you that. So breaking that ice, they build a barrier, you know, and it definitely tears a lot of women down. Lady Charmaine, can I share our experience? Okay. So the first time me and Miss Lady Charmaine met, we were all at a barbecue. Beautiful people, all beautiful people. She and some other ladies were in the house, and I was outside with the children talking to another young lady. And when I came in the house, I looked and I said, wow, look at those beautiful ladies. I want to talk to them and see what they're talking about. And lo and behold, after talking to her, she said, we were looking at you saying we wanted you to come in the house. We wanted to talk to you too. But it's just breaking down that barrier. You know, we think so much about what is the other person thinking, what is the other person thinking, instead of just being yourself and saying, you know what, you're beautiful. How are you doing? Can we talk? Can we chat? And just chiming in on the conversation. So I think a lot of it has to do with intimidation, honestly.
Why do we have the hardest time giving compliments? It's like you see somebody that's cute, just tell her she's cute. Tell her that her hair is cute. I don't have a problem with that. And it's like if you feel that little jealousy kind of come up in your heart, you just break it and go tell the girl, you know what, girl, you look good. You are rocking those shoes. See, I want Miss Coke bottle shape right here. I think I was asleep. I must have slept in that day when they was giving out shapes, and Coke bottle over here got it. I was in another line. I think I got talking to something. I got them gifts. But it's okay to give another lady a compliment and say, girl, you rocking. Because I can look like that. All I got to do is find the right doctor, like Nicki Minaj. I can look like that. But when we come back, we're going straight to the audience to see what they have to say. So they're going to be weighing in on the topic. So are y'all ready? We'll be right back watching Lady Charmaine Live.
Lady Charmaine Live. Lady Charmaine Live. On Friday now.
Lady Charmaine Live is sponsored in part by Savali Hair. For more information, go online to savalihair.com.
Looking for a station that plays uplifting music with an inspirational message? Praise 98 FM Jams is your station. Log on to praise98fm.com from anywhere in the world and get your praise on with artists like Kirk Franklin,
Even though I've been here for a while,
Still, Dawkins and Dawkins, and Mary Mary. It's music the whole family can enjoy. Listen to Lady Charmaine Live weekdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for great interviews, contest giveaways, and entertainment news. Listen to Praise 98 FM Jams at work, at home, or on the go. Download the free TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone and search Praise 98 FM and start jamming today. We want you to like us on Facebook at Praise 98 FM Jams and join the Praise 98 FM Jams family. Log on right now at www.praise98fm.com. Your worldwide radio alternative. Internet radio never sounded so good.
with Lady Charmaine Live. Lady Charmaine Live. Lady Charmaine Live.
And we are back And we're talking about all things girlfriends. And today we're talking about Lady Charmaine Live and girlfriends, and what do girlfriends have in common? So right now we're going to allow the audience to weigh in, and we want to know what they think and see if they have any questions for our guests. You have a question?
I do. Ladies, I would like to know, why do men's friendships with men seem to last longer and be healthier than women's friendships with women?
That is the question.
I think, I'm sorry, okay, so I think for men, men tend to be more forgiving. They tend to let things go. Oh man, it's all right. You know, we'll pick back up later. You know, I think for women, we are so emotional. We're emotional creatures by nature, and we tend to hold that. You know, somebody did us wrong. You know what? You're on the back burner. I'm not dealing with you anymore, and they're no longer a friend. But for fellas, they can keep it going, and they just kind of keep it moving, keep it rolling. They don't let things get to them as much as we do.
I think for what may be something considered a betrayal for a woman may not be the same for a man. Like for a woman, if you sleep with my ex or something like that, it's like a done deal. For a man, if he sleeps with their ex, they're high-fiving each other. Right. You know, so it's like it's not equal, you know. Right. And I also think men don't really have in-depth conversations like women do. You know, women, we get down and we talk. True. And you know we are emotional, so we want to talk about our feelings and talk about what's going on. And guys are just like, oh man, she got a fat booty, like, you know. And it's like, that's it, like that's their whole conversation. So, I think that's why they last a little bit longer than women.
Yep.
That was good.
I mean, men see black and white. We see black, white, blue, green, depending on our mood swings. So I think we're just complicated.
That's good. Thank you.
Ladies, why do men and women have longer relationships with each other than women and having friendships with another woman? Why do it last longer?
That's true.
That's a good question.
I always feel like whenever there's an animosity between a man and a woman, we're quick to to cuss him out before we even raise our voice to the female. I mean, I don't understand, but I think men are more secure with themselves than women. I think we're insecure by nature, and insecurity brings on jealousy, and then jealousy brings on intimidation, and then intimidation brings on competition, and then you just got a hot mess, and that's tend to be the direction that we go.
And to your point, men, they pretty much stay the same through the course of their life. You know, if you notice that, right? Yeah. They, you know, they're a 12-year-old boy at 40 years old. And that's okay, right? That's okay. That's not for men, I'm just saying. Right. But that's how they deal with each other with their friendships. Us women, we evolve, we grow. You know, we don't do that anymore. I don't go to the club anymore. Are you kidding me? We're going to this women's conference. We're all about that. You know, where we evolve, we grow. Right. So if our friends are growing with us, then we have to leave them behind. You know, so.
That's good. You broke that down. Would you say intimidation? And all that? You got to write that down.
Okay.
You have a question.
Why do you think it's so hard for some women to keep their friends' secrets?
It's because they so juicy. You got to tell somebody.
If you don't have the same friends in the same inner circle, say you have a group of friends, you grew up together, you party together, you hang out together, you go to church together, and you find out something, they share something with you, keeping that inside and saying, I'm not going to say anything. She told me. Did she mean that for everybody else to know? Again, it's a real fine line to keep that secret, to keep it inside. Am I not supposed to share? We have the same friends. I'm dealing with a similar situation where a girlfriend of mine shares something with me, but I can't tell anybody else because she shared it with me. It's a challenge. It really, really is, because you don't know whether or not it's okay to share. I guess sometimes the disclaimer needs to go, can I share this with anyone? Or not?
That's good.
So.
I agree.
I think whenever you have to start off a conversation, I'm going to tell you something, but you can't tell nobody, I think you doomed. Yeah. Like my mom always said, if you have to say that, then pretty much your business is going out. It's just, that's just the way people are.
That's true. That's good. Thank you.
Question.
My question is, do you think it's possible for a group of best friends to stay best friends forever? And if so, why? Why not?
I think it is. I have a close, circle of friends that we met all at the same time. Well, some of them met before, but we pretty much developed a friendship at the same time, and we've been friends now. Every now and then, one will kind of fall off, and then we'll have to go and grab her and, get her back on track. But again, if they are considered lifetime friends, then it is possible for people to stay friends forever. My mom had, her two best friends they've known since they were in kindergarten and, middle school, high school and stuff. And they're in their 50s, still going out on the weekends, girlfriend lunches and stuff like that. So it is possible.
Yeah, I had a situation where I had girlfriends that we were friends before we were saved. And after I got saved, another one of my girlfriends got saved. We kind of all went our different directions. You really have to have a strong foundation in order to sustain a relationship through getting saved, through marriages, through kids, through different things. It's possible, but it is a challenge because some people don't go the same paths. One of my girlfriends who's not saved still to this day, she went down a wholly different path than I would have ever went down. And we aren't friends, but that's because we don't have any common interests anymore. Right. I don't do the same things that I used to do. So our group of friends have disseminated, but we still try to keep in touch for the most part. But it is hard because everybody goes their different ways as they grow, as they evolve.
Yeah. It's possible, but it is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is rare.
Yeah.
My two best friends that I went to high school with, it was three of us. Two fell off. And they fell off for 4 years. And it took me to call them on three-way. And then one of them said, "Oh my gosh, Aisha, what took you so long to do that? We've been waiting forever." I mean, that's just how women are, too stubborn to call one another to mend it. So they look for that third party to help put it together.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I need some help determining how to tell when a friend is trustworthy.
And can you elaborate just a little bit?
Well, I'm new to the area, and so I'm constantly meeting people at my work or people out that I'm really trying to establish a friendship. So, a couple of times we're getting to know one another. I feel as if they have my best interest, but I'm still having that challenge of whether or not they're trustworthy.
Well, you got to put yourself out there. Like you said, you're meeting new people, and in order for you to get to know that person, you have to put yourself out there and trust them. Try them out. See if they're worthy of your friendship. Try them out. Go out. Experience life together and see if they're a friend or an acquaintance or just somebody from work.
Right. What box to put them in?
Right.
Ask yourself, how do they make you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, so is
The
there
most
too much
important
to share?
thing.
Is like how far
I mean, don't be guarded because, you won't be able to get to know anybody, but just trust them with a little bit and see how they make you feel by their reaction, how they respond to the information that you're sharing with them. And that should be able to let you know how far to go with them.
Yeah. Or maybe hang out with that individual and her friends. Maybe she's having a, makeup party or something at her house, and go see where she or who she surrounds herself with, because birds of a feather flock together.
Amen.
So if you're in her environment and they're being messy,
Right.
then you kind of know, where her head is at too.
Very good.
Very good. Yes.
Good point.
Yes.
Have another question?
Why do you think it's hard for women to sustain friendships for a long period of time?
Insecurity. If you're secure with yourself, you don't have to worry about other people. But I think women are, like I said earlier, just insecure. If you're always, like she said, one of the ladies said earlier, you're looking at what they want instead of just being okay with who you are. I think it always comes back to that bottom line.
And again, like we talked about before, people, going on different paths. Like I have some friendships. I wouldn't say that the friendship didn't last, but again, I don't really talk to these people as much as I used to. Why? Well, first, I moved from Georgia to California. I lost a lot of friends in that process. Got married, so a lot of the things that I would talk about to some friends. I can't. Why? Because they're not married. They're still single. They're still out, clubbing and sleeping with all these different people, whatever. So if I come to her with a marriage concern, she won't understand. So unfortunately, that relationship, that friendship didn't last as long as I would have liked it to. But, when a friendship falls off, it doesn't always necessarily mean, jealousy and stuff like that. Could it? Absolutely. But when people decide to, change or grow or just life happens, unfortunately, you do lose friends in the process.
And my last little point to that, when your life changes, if your friend's life doesn't change with it, they sometimes fall off. Not intentionally, but that's just the way the evolution of friendship goes, honestly.
I like that, the evolution of friendship. Now I want to know, is there such thing as a frenemy? You got these friends and they're kind of like enemies, or the person that's always, they're your friend but always want to compete with you in everything. Anybody have any friends like that? You change your hair, they change your hair like yours. You dye your hair black, she dye her hair black too. You get your new dress, girl, look what I found. The dress looked just like yours.
Right.
Anybody got any frenemies or ever had that experience?
I don't think I've ever had that experience. What do they say? Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Right.
So maybe I do have a friend of me and just don't know it.
Right.
But when I cook something, you know how you put it on Instagram, right? And so I cooked something, put it on Instagram. 2 days later, she cooked the same dish. And it's like, my husband and I, we go somewhere and 2 weeks later, her husband and her husband go in the same place, So, but I don't know. Is that a friend of me?
I was like, is that a friend? Girl, got a lot of
my
this.
sister Alicia, she always making these delicious meals, and she bring them in the office. They taste all good, and then I try to recreate it, right? Because now she done made me hungry, wet my palate. So, but I don't consider her a friend of me. Now I'm not taking pictures, you know what I'm saying, and they doing it. She just let me taste it, and I want to try it, try to make it myself. So I don't consider her a friend of me at all. But she makes some good old stuff. I mean, office. But we have more questions.
Do you believe that when a group of people, friends, share time together, that maybe there's an odd number, 3 of you, 5 of you, or 7 of you that spend time together, that it impacts the friendship or maybe even could cause a loss of friendship, kind of like the odd man out theory?
Interesting.
I don't think so. Are we talking about like a date?
No, maybe it's a group of you. Sometime you spend time together, go on trips or have lunch. And maybe 3 of you get together, 5 of you, and because it's an odd number, maybe some of you see yourself pairing off differently. Do you think there's such a thing as an odd man out theory?
I don't.
I don't think so. I have 3 girlfriends in Sacramento that we are friends. We all end up kind of going off on our own tangents from time to time, but it's never been a situation where it's been one person's left out. We all try to include each other. Even when we do a group text, we group each other in. And so I think it depends on the dynamic of the relationship with the friends. If you do have situations where people end up, you build closer relationships with some people. If one person ends up being closer with another, yes. But I don't necessarily think so. Personally, I don't think. But
I agree. I don't think so. I've hung out with, an even group of people and felt like, okay, this sucks. And I've hung out with an odd group of people and had the best time of my life. So I don't really think the number of people really matters. You're either going to have a good time or you're not.
Like if you have like 7 friends and you guys are all close, but then you might have 3 in the group that are even closer. So they're always doing stuff together without the other 4 because the 3 people in the clique of 7 got along better.
That happens though. I mean, personalities mesh better with certain personalities. If you got a group of 10, maybe I'm only really gonna be totally close with 2 because of my personality. I think that just happens naturally.
Okay, thank you. Hi there.
Hi.
I have a question in regards to long distance friendships. More for you because I hear you moved. Is there such thing as long distance friendships? Do you believe in that? Yes or no, and why? And why
absolutely. I believe in long distance everything. I was in a long distance relationship before I married my husband for 2 years. I think I've mastered this long distance thing. But when I moved from Georgia to California, I didn't have any friends out here, none, zero. So, you know, that whole transition, you get homesick and things like that. And did I lose friends in the process? Yes, I did. But they weren't my true friends. Right. Because distance doesn't matter to me. Because I don't have to see you every day. We don't even have to talk every day. But when I do call, or when my friend does call me, are you available? Or I'll call you back and you never call me back. Or if I need you, are you there for me? You know, there have been a couple of cases to where one of my friends have called me out here in California to borrow money because all the people that she was with in the state she was didn't have her back, you know? And one of my best friends, when her mother passed away, I was the first person that she called here. And I had a plane ticket that very night to fly back to Atlanta to be there for her. So distance doesn't matter. Long distance relationships work if the people make it work.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great point. Thank you.
I don't have
we agree.
And I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. She hit the nail on the head.
Say la.
Yes.
Now, I do have a question, ladies. Okay, so here's one of my questions. Why do women only make guys their friends?
I think that's an excuse when women say, I don't have any female friends, I only have men. I mean, here's the deal, there's girls and there's women. And most women know how to communicate with other women. We know how to have friendships, so that's the separation between a girl and a woman. It's the maturity. I think women who say they can't get along with other women obviously have some issues, and maybe you don't want to be around that woman because, and I think that's a problem with women. We do not know how to communicate. I mean, our communication between one another, it sucks. I mean, we got the talking down, but not the listening. In a lot of the situations, I think our communication between one another definitely needs a lot of improvement, a lot of growth.
That's good.
I think anybody who says that they only have guy friends, they can only make friends with guys, is using it as an excuse. One, they've either been hurt by another woman deeply, and they feel like they don't want to deal with women. They got their guard up. They just are done with dealing with women. Or they're using it as an excuse just to have guy friends. Right. There's simply no reason why another woman can't get along with another woman unless something has happened in your life to make it that way.
That's good.
But why do we forgive men for hurting us and doing all this stuff, but we'll go be with another man, obviously, but we won't build a relationship with another woman?
That's
so backwards.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Now with this next question, I'm taking a seat because my feet. So I got another question for you. Now, do some women pick friends in their same look category? You know how some women don't want any ugly friends.
Oh my God!
I hope that's not true.
That is so funny.
You know, you gotta look a certain way
something to say
in order to be in my crew.
Let her answer this one.
I have something to say. No, because my daughter was invited to a birthday party, and we went to the birthday party. Now, this is what the mom told me later. She said, my girlfriends wanted to know what you looked like when you were coming to the party. And I said, well, I wonder why. And she said, well, I told them that you always dress nice, you always look nice, your makeup's always on point, you look good. And I thought, well, what if I wasn't? I mean, you know, what if I wasn't on point? What if I didn't dress nice? Would my daughter be uninvited to the party? Would I not be allowed to socialize with your friends? I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, to be so superficial that you would distance yourself from someone because of the way they looked, because of their weight, because of whatever. And I thought that was ridiculous. And I couldn't believe that people really thought that way. Yeah. And it's so sad and kind of pathetic if you really think about it, because if you're that superficial to where you think about the way somebody looks and you're only going to be friends with them because of the way they look, just shows how small-minded you really are.
You're not going to be a good friend. So you don't need them anyway.
Exactly.
And the reason why that hit me, because a friend of mine told me that happened to her. A person didn't want to be her friend because they said she was ugly.
Oh, that's horrible.
She wasn't cute. And so, but that happens a lot in female relationships. If they really don't feel that you measure up in the look status, you know, or they might think that you're going to kind of bring them down a little bit. I guess the mud duck syndrome. you know what I mean, she's not cute enough, she don't measure up, or her hair is too short, or, you know, and it's so sad that we do that. So you're missing out on a good friend because she may not necessarily look like, you know what I mean, how you feel you should look, because, you know, all my girls got to be fine, as they say. All my girlfriends are popping. You know, she don't fit in the crew. And I do believe men might have that too. Don't y'all act like y'all don't. You know, bro, man ain't cool. His tennis shoes are whack. He don't make it too cool, bro. You gotta bring it up, bro. Bring it up. But it's true though, and it's so sad. Has anyone in the audience ever had that type of experience? Wow. So, you know, and it's so sad. You've had that experience? Oh, your daughter's had that experience? I'm going to ask you, okay? So, camera, y'all follow me wherever you are. Okay. Stand up. Tell me about your daughter's experience.
At her school that she moved from, they were calling her fat. So it's sad as a mother to see that. And so we changed schools because they were bullying her because of that. And she's, you know, she's a beautiful girl, a big heart. And, you know, so I'm sorry. But it's upsetting that people are so cruel and do that to other people. It's sad. You know, so that's fine. Yeah.
Tell me your experience.
Why are you here?
We're going to turn around and we're going to talk to her right back there. Hey.
You know, you hear sometimes, you know, of women, because I've seen it, who they only hang with women who that look, you know, not as attractive as they do. So sometimes you'll go out and you'll see a group of women who all of them look like they're on point, but it's always one or two who don't, you know, look the part. But the ones who are hanging around them, they only had her come so they can look better or feel better about themselves. So there's no competition when they go out.
That is so true, because I had a young lady who did not want me to meet her boyfriend. She said because he might like you. And I thought she was a good friend of mine. Because, you know, she was telling me all about him, so I'm excited to meet him. And she was like, I don't want him to meet you. And she would not introduce him to me because she thought he might like me. And I was like, wow, so people really, really think that. And this is somebody who I thought was going to be, you know, who I thought was my girlfriend. So we really do have to be mindful. Anybody else had that experience? Stand up. We're going to look at them right there.
Being in a church, raised up in a church, and you think you have a clique, the crew that you grow up with from little kids to teenager, being there and realizing that they never liked you in the first place, and you were just there because your family was the person that was over the youth department, and you were just there, and then you find out later when you're older, we didn't ever like you in the first place because you wasn't like stuff. You didn't have all the stuff that we had, so you didn't have nothing to offer. But when my dad and them say, well, we're having something at church, at the house, it was okay. You hung out with me for that, but then when it was over with, then it wasn't. So it deals with a lot of deepness in it, and you guard yourself from other people. So now I only hang with older people.
Anybody else has had that experience? Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad. Only a few people in the room. Can we hear from the kids, from the children? So that's all for us today. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I want to thank my wonderful studio audience, also my great panel of guests in back of me, and also the entire Lady Charmaine Live crew. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for watching. Do you want to be a part of our live studio audience? For free tickets, go online to LadyCharmaineLiveShow.eventbrite.com and join the fun today.